In December 2024, China did something no one else had done. Its aviation authority certified a 4-seat electric airplane, the RX-4E, for normal commercial use. The certificate is real. It's the first electric plane of its class to clear a full type certificate anywhere in the world. And the story that went around was simple: China had won. America and Europe poured billions into electric flight and got nothing. China just certified the plane. That story is true. And it's also incomplete, in ways that matter, because a type certificate is not what most people think it is. It doesn't mean the plane is flying passengers. It doesn't mean it's making money. And it doesn't mean the West is losing. What it means is more specific and more interesting. And along the way, I found that even the viral version of this story got some of its biggest details wrong. So let's start with what the certificate actually is. Every country with an aviation industry has its own rulebook for certifying aircraft. In America, it's FAR Part 23. In Europe, CS 23. In China, CCAR 23. These are the rules that decide whether an airframe is safe enough to be built and sold. When CAAC, China's equivalent of the FAA, issued the RX-4E type certificate, it was saying, this plane, as designed, is airworthy. That's a big deal. But notice what it doesn't say. It doesn't say airlines are flying it. It doesn't say the company is profitable. It doesn't even say the plane has a working business model. A type certificate is a green light for the airframe, not for the market. Plenty of certified aircraft have never made their builders a dollar. This is a 4-seat trainer. Range, around 162 nautical miles. Cruise speed, about 108 knots. It is not an airliner. It's a small plane, designed for flight schools, tourism, and short hops. So how did China get here first? The short answer: they started a decade early, and they brought the regulator along. Back in 2015, the same research group, the Liaoning General Aviation Academy, inside Shenyang Aerospace University, certified the world's first electric aircraft, a 2-seater called the RX-1E. 10 years before the RX-4E. That's the part the hype skips. In the West, electric aviation startups and regulators have spent years at arm's length. China did the opposite. The regulator was in the room during development, watching the technology grow for a decade. So when the RX-4E came up for certification, there were no surprises. The rulebook, and the people enforcing it, already knew this plane. Certification isn't just engineering. It's institutional memory. And China had a 10-year head start. Here's why this plane matters, even as a trainer. The money. A traditional training plane like the Cessna 182 burns roughly 14 gallons of avgas an hour. At today's prices, that's close to $100 an hour in fuel alone, before maintenance, insurance, or hangar fees. The RX-4E's advertised numbers, a full charge costs about $10. Total operating cost, the company claims, runs between $40 and $60 an hour. The Cessna runs $150 to $250. The real innovation is the battery. It holds about 70 kilowatt-hours. And when it runs low, you don't park and charge for an hour. The ground crew swaps the pack in about 3 minutes. For a flight school running 5 planes, 6 days a week, the difference adds up to hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. The operating cost gap is real, and it's huge. Here's where the viral version of this story starts to unravel, in 3 places. First, the motor. The videos say the RX-4E's electric motor comes from a Slovenian company called Pipistrel, but the RX-4E doesn't use a Pipistrel motor at all. Industry reporting says the motor is from Emrax, another Slovenian company. The point survives either way. The plane that supposedly proves China's total dominance carries a European motor. Second, the India deal. It's real, 20 aircraft, $12 million, announced in February 2025. But look closer at the customer, VMAN Aviation Services, a Mumbai consultancy and aircraft lessor. Not an airline, not a flight school chain, a consultancy. The first 10 planes are scheduled for delivery in January 2026. Treat the order as real, but don't mistake it for proof the plane is in service. Third, the Abu Dhabi factory. The joint venture is real, Vola Air Mobility Industries, with an Abu Dhabi investment firm called Innovatic. But the original reporting claims the UAE's aviation authority, the GCAA, is a partner in the factory. It isn't. The GCAA signed a Memorandum of Understanding to support a green aviation hub. That's a regulator offering support, not an equity partner building planes. The factory is planned at a site called Kezad, starting around 30 aircraft a year, aiming for 200 a year within 5 years. Now, the uncomfortable part for the West. It's not that Western companies lack talent. Beta Technologies has flown its electric aircraft more than 100,000 nautical miles, real flying, not hangar demos. In 2025 it posted losses of about $745 million against $35 million in revenue. By Aerospace, started taking deposits from flight schools back in 2018, its 4-seat electric trainer was supposed to be certified by 2023. It's now slipped to 2028. The problem isn't engineering. It's that the FAA and EASA don't have the rules, or in some cases the staff, to certify electric propulsion, and they're writing them from scratch. Aviation rulemaking is slow by design, because every failure mode has to be thought through. China didn't out-engineer the West here. It out-organized its own regulator. But while the West fixes it, China is collecting the one thing you can't buy: certified flight hours and data. So what's actually happening? This is not China won electric flight. It's also not the West is doomed. It's the starting gun. The RX-4E is a real, certified, 4-seat electric trainer with a plausible cost advantage and a 10-year regulatory head start. It has real orders from a consultancy, not an airline. It has a planned factory in the UAE, not in service. And it has a European motor under the cowl. The picture is genuinely impressive and genuinely incomplete. What decides who wins the next 10 years isn't who certifies a plane first. It's who accumulates the most certified flight hours, who earns the trust of the rulebook, and who gets the economics proven by real operators. Right now, China leads in the first two. The West still has the largest aviation market on Earth. Headlines call this a story about batteries, or geopolitics, or who's winning. It's a story about rulebooks, and the race is only just beginning. If you want the analysis that doesn't come from the press release, subscribe for more. And here's the question for the comments: if you ran a flight school tomorrow, would you order an RX-4E, or would you wait?